Welcome back to another video. We are not informed more where we talk Jaguars football. And Brandon, I think Christmas might have came a little early with the news breaking last night about 2 a.m. Urban Meyer officially fired as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. I'm actually thrilled. It sucks that people get fired, but I mean, him as a head coach of Jaguars, I think it brought their morale down for the players, the coaches, and especially the fans. And I think literally just listening to the press conferences of um, the coaches, Griffin, Lawrence, and I just think that's everyone is like ready to play ball again.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never seen a more widely accepted firing. I feel like there's not, I didn't see, I was on Twitter all day listening and like reading tweets and stuff. I didn't see one person, national media, even someone who's like not like local here and maybe was just like not getting, even those people were like, understandable, completely get why you got fired. And when that happens, it's time to go. Like when literally not even one person, except for his daughter. His daughter was the only one that was vocal,
Yep.
which I would hope so. But when it's only your daughter in your corner, you're probably in like not in a good situation.
No, absolutely. And I think DJ Chark, he posted, like a prayer sign on his Instagram story, but also his wife and Trevor Lawrence's wife, they both liked a post of
Yeah.
Urban Meyer getting fired. And just, Trevor Lawrence basically saying he's glad that there's no more drama. Same thing with Griffin. They're just ready to play football again. And man, I'm actually excited for the game on Sunday. I really think the Jaguars. I picked them against the Texans in the pool. I picked the Texans. This is obviously before Meyer got fired.
Yeah.
But I believe it or not, dude, I think the Jaguars could dominate this game.
Yeah. It's going to go one or two ways. It's either still because looking through it all still, Bevel's still the offensive coordinator. He's still calling plays, and it has not been good have him calling plays. So like we have all this momentum right now and things feeling good. But at the end of the day, come Sunday, we're still getting the same exact because Urban did nothing on Sundays. He literally would just stand there and looked pissed off. And if someone did good, he would give him a pat on the back, and that's all he would do. He did nothing on Sundays. So I'm still worried that this offense is still going to look like this offense this whole year. It's not like it's going to switch just because Urban's gone. Morale may be better. Maybe we practice better. Maybe like that, and maybe that reflects in maybe less penalties or something. But overall wise, I still think this offense is going to struggle. But I do think we're going to play better. I feel like there will be some kind of like relief, and they're going to try to play better, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Bevel the benefit of the doubt. I still don't think he's a great offensive coordinator. Obviously, I think he should be gone at the end of the year. But I have a feeling that when I listen to him say James Robinson is our starting running back and he's gonna be played like a starting running back, it kind of made me start thinking that Urban Meyer, even though he didn't call plays, he gave Bevel a set of direction. Bevel was not allowed to call any of his plays he wanted to, So I think the next four games we're gonna see, I think, sort of the real development of Trevor Lawrence, hopefully.
Yeah, and we all knew Urban did not like James Robinson. That was kind of just given with whole ETN, and then putting bring his buddy Carlos Hyde in. Not really Carlos Hyde I wouldn't even know if he'd be playing one single snap this year. It wasn't for Urban Meyer. So it's very much like, I think that Urban wanted Carlos Hyde to be the running back and not James Robinson and Travis Etienne. So hopefully Bevel just like, we're going to run James Robinson 25 times. I've been wanting to do this, and we'll see. If James Robinson runs more than 20 times, then it showed Urban actually did have some influence in James Robinson getting benched, because the second he's gone, all of a sudden he's running again. So we'll see. That Sunday will be a big tell on how this offense operates, of how much Urban actually had his hands on this team.
Yeah. I think there was one player in the league, Michael Thomas, that did defend Urban Meyer.
Well, I mean,
today. Yeah.
Michael Thomas has been an Urban guy all through and through, and he's not on the team. So, I mean, not going to put that to any weight.
No, absolutely. So before we talk about potential, replacements for Urban Meyer, I do want to ask this question, and that's like I was thinking about this all day. Just say the Jaguars finish 3-1 the next four games. They beat the Texans, Jets, and Colts, right? They lose to the Pats 3-1. Trevor Lawrence goes 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. Does Bevel is he the new head coach next year?
I don't think so. I think there's so many good candidates for head coach coming up, especially on the offensive side. Maybe offensive coordinators, maybe like, let's say Brian Rutherford, Kellen Moore, whoever comes in and sees what Bevel did with Trevor, and maybe he talks with Trevor, he talks with some of the captains, and if they all vouch for him, then maybe he just stays as the offensive coordinator. That could possibly happen. I think that's best case scenario for him. I don't think he'll really ever be an NFL head coach. He took over the Lions, I think, and he was 1-4. And if he
Yeah.
comes up, I don't think they're winning 3 games. I think that
Yeah,
is
no,
very, very widely like that's not going to happen. So I think the chances that are very low. But even if that does happen, even when we go 4-0 and Trevor just looks amazing, I don't think he's head coach. I think he may get shot to stay at offensive coordinator, but that's still up to whoever's getting brought in.
no, yeah, I agree with that. When it comes to, first of all, I think you're gonna be looking at a GM. I don't think Trent Baalke is gonna be here. That's just
Um,
me. I think, maybe Louis Riddick has always been a popular name for a while, but I think someone like Rick Smith used to be a Texan GM who was pretty good with the
yeah.
Texans. I think he's someone that the Jaguars could eventually, pair with. That's the only person I can really think about for the GM, or maybe someone from the Chiefs front office, Colts front office, someone that's, they've been successful for some time. And just maybe like a younger guy that's kind of finally getting his chance to kind of prove himself. But I mean, when it comes to head coaches, I think everyone agrees that Byron Leftwich would be a fan favorite right now,
Yeah.
would be a fan favorite. But if you're looking at a coach that has already been an NFL coach, there's 2 coaches out there. Doug Peterson, who you know very well from an Eagles fan, and also Jim Caldwell, who's done well with the Lions and the Colts.
Yeah, those two, I would say Jim Caldwell's name has been thrown on a lot today.
Yeah.
Um, that he's a very good option because you know what you're going to get from him. You know that you're not going to have the Urban Meyer crap show. You're not going to have a scandal every week. He's going to run a well-organized team. And the teams that he's actually coached have been pretty well. Like he hasn't had that. I think he's been he was a coach for 7 years, and 5 of those had winning records.
Yeah. I
And
think
that's with the
playoffs 5 of
Lions
those 7.
too.
Yeah.
That's with the Lions too. And Lions have, even when they had Stafford and Calvin Johnson, like they were still not necessarily a great team. So to be able to do that says a lot. And he has a lot of respect around the league. And with
Yep.
Doug, he won a Super
Players.
Bowl.
Yep.
And Doug won a Super Bowl with, honestly, if you look at that Eagles roster, their defense has a lot of players, but their offense was pretty much not really good. You're talking key players in the Super Bowl were Nick Foles, Corey Clement, Ajayi, Nelson Aguilar, and Torrey Smith. Like none of those guys were on NFL rosters the next year, pretty much. They were all either bench guys, and by 2 years, almost all of them were out of the league. So you're looking at Doug, and he beat Belichick and Brady in that Super Bowl where it was all about points. Defense didn't matter. So Doug made Carson Wentz an MVP level player, and right now he's about a mid-level player at best. So I think Doug's actually a really good name to watch out for. Some people I know are iffy about him, but tell you what, the only reason he's out of Philly isn't because of the fans, but because the GM and the owner are kind of tied, and they wanted Ertz instead of Wentz, and he wanted Carson instead of Hurts. That's the only reason he's out. There's no because he was bad or the fans hated him in Philly. It was simply for that reason. So he really should still be coaching, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
politics kind of kicked him out.
Yeah, and he would have more control over his team here.
Yep.
I mean, I think you want to find a GM that's is good at drafting players when it comes to trades, negotiating contracts, and your coach is the one that controls the overall roster. That's what you want. I think Doug Peterson would be perfect at that.
Yep.
On my way home from work today, I was listening to 1010, and they actually brought up Mark Lamping. Would he not like become GM? He is the president of the team, but more so the sports side. He was with the St. Louis Cardinals baseball. They ended up winning World Series. He is very knowledgeable, and he is very good he could become very good when it comes to finding the right GM. And let Shah Khan wouldn't have to worry about nothing when it comes to football. Mark Long would be the president of the real president of the Jacksonville Jaguars, not the business side of things. So what are your takes on that?
I'm perfectly fine with that. He's done a really good job, I think, with the whole creating Daly's Place and like promoting that and doing kind of like he's kind of been the pusher of like the new practice facility and everything like that. And I think he's done a great job. I think the city's really on the side that kind of is like kind of letting fans down, but it started getting picked up, especially this last go around, we're actually going to do the practice facility. We're actually going to build like the Four Seasons and those whole new offices. So that's great. And if I think he'd be great to bring in a new guy. I don't think Shad, obviously his track record of hiring has not been great.
Yeah.
And I do think Shad may just take I joked around. I think Jack should let a Twitter poll decide who's going to be the next head coach. Like, I think we'd have better luck than Shad picking, but I think there's so many good candidates out there that GM I haven't looked to as much as head coach just because that. But I think if you just find a guy who's successful and you get the GM first and not the coach first, the way you're really supposed to do it. And Bulky really, he was only here because he's good at politics and he knew Urban. Like, that's not really who you want to be really in command of that. So you get the right guy from a winning organization, then you get the right coach. There's like 5 coaches out there that I think I'd be fine with any of them. So focus on the GM, get the right coach to fit, and then move forward with Trevor. That's the way it should go. And if Mark Lampings, that's what he wants to do, then I think he should do it. Because to me, that's the right way to do it. And we did it wrong quite a few times.
Yeah. And then when you have, let's see here, the coaches, you have Byron Leftwich, Kellen Moore, Jim Caldwell,
Doug
Peterson. I think a sleeper coach could be, there's some, rumors floating around that Mike Tomlin, if he decides to leave Pittsburgh, he can leave Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And then you had Tony Dungy said, I'm not coaching the Jaguars, or I'm not coaching at all, but he said the Jaguars are a very hot organization to go to still, because they're going to be we're probably going to be the top, team that a coach wants to go to. You have a franchise quarterback, more than likely. You're going to have a top 5 pick. You're going to have all the cap space in the world. You do have young talent, when it comes to running backs, some good key defensive players. So you have some pieces around that you don't have to worry about building. So I think Jacksonville will probably still be they'll have position where they can pick the coach they want first. And then kind of last year, the Jaguars got their coach and everything started falling in place. I think the same thing is going to happen this year.
Yeah, I was going to say this is almost carbon copy of last year. Except hopefully we pick the right guy. But yeah, it's pretty much Jaguars will set the pace. We literally will be the first team probably to be interviewing people, especially now with the new rule with 2 weeks early. So a lot of teams are still in it. Like the Bears are a team that they're technically still in the playoffs. So you're not going to fire your coach when you're technically still in a chance for the play. That may change next week or so, but that's obviously Matt Nagy's a player that you're going to watch out for being fired. Same with Pete Carroll retiring. You got maybe if the Steelers fall apart, maybe that Mike Tomlin. I think it'd be stupid to let Mike Tomlin.
I would literally throw everything at Mike Tomlin.
I would too. It's like the same argument for Devontae Adams. Like whatever you want, dude. Like if you want a lifetime deal, you got it. Like he's the guy. And I think Pittsburgh's not dumb. They've been one of the most historically successful franchises in the United States.
They've only had 3 coaches their whole entire existence.
Yeah. Like
that's ridiculous.
They don't get rid of guys because they get on the good ones and then they stick with them until they decide that they're done. And Mike Tomlin's still young compared to like a lot of these.
45. So he's still,
I mean, and he's physically fit. He's active. All the players love him. There's zero reason why he should leave. Like he's literally, if you put, I think not any coach, but like, let's say you put like Mike Nagy, let's say bottom year, he's going to get fired on this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I bet they will have like 2 wins. Like that's how bad that team actually is, minus like TJ Watt and like Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris. They really don't have that many people. And the fact that they're probably still even have a shot to be 500 is mind blowing. So he would be an ideal, but man, there's so many coaches. That's what I'm saying. There's so many coaches out this year and we have the very first pick, get the right GM. And then you could literally, Josh McDaniels may even come here and he's been the hot name for the last like 6 years and he's never left, but who knows? I don't think, was it Eric Bieniemy? I don't think he's going to be a candidate. He was a candidate last year and he didn't make it to like the final selection last year. So I highly doubt that's going to change this year.
I'd rather have the quarterback coach from Kansas City as my head coach than Eric Bieniemy. That's just me though.
Yeah, he doesn't call the play. It's a very weird situation where he needs to probably leave Kansas City and go be like a coach somewhere else because Andy Reid gets all the credit. Patrick Mahomes gets all the credit. He gets nothing. Like literally, seems like he's just a guy there. And I think that hurts him on his resumes and his interviews, and the fact of like, they really like, what do you do there? Like what that freaking, the meme from the movie or Office Space. So what exactly do you do here? Like, I feel like he gets tripped up on that.
No, absolutely. And then let's go back a few, a few steps backward, talking about like other coaches that could be fired. I think Mike Zimmer is someone that's, always his name's always been on the hot seat. I think maybe this could be the year if they don't make the playoffs, which he's a great, he's a good coach, someone else I would take. But just like, you're going to have the Jags, you're going to have the Bears, maybe the Giants. I did read an article today that they did say Joe Judge is, I believe, going to be given one more year, more likely with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at maybe only 3 at most, potentially only 4 teams looking for a new head coach this year.
Well, you could have Pete Carroll retiring, depending on how that goes. If Russell Wilson wants to get out of there, and you have maybe Pete Carroll is like, okay, I'm done. If Russell Wilson's leaving, he's actually really old. I didn't think he's like isn't he like in his 70s?
Yeah, mid to late 70s, I think.
Yeah, he does not look like it. He could easily pass for like in his 50s, give or take. Now I think about it, but he doesn't look that old. He doesn't act that old. But he could easily retire, and maybe that opens up a slot. And if Russell Wilson leaves, though, that's not a very attractive position. I feel like people would much rather be in Jacksonville than Seattle if Russell Wilson is up there. So yeah, Jags, there's 4 positions that are going to be open maybe, and there's maybe 6 coaches that I'm fine with. So either way, we should be good.
Yep.
As long as we don't get God, I can't even think of his name. Clemson's head coach. I've heard
Dabo?
that thrown around.
No, I don't want him.
In
no.
Dabo, and because of the whole Trevor Lawrence thing, and then Dabo recently came out and said this NIL stuff is in the transfer portal. It's not. He's like, it's not even college football anymore. He's like complaint because it's like everybody's transferring. You got all these kids chasing the money instead of going for an education and playing football and stuff. So there is rumors that like he's getting really fed up and his team's not doing well. Look at Jimbo Fisher, look at Urban Meyer. The second they saw their team kind of like tanking down a little bit, and you're not in Alabama, you're not in Ohio State. Clemson is not really historically great college football team. Like Dabo really brought that college. They used to be, kind of in there, but not to this level. And that's really hard to keep it there unless you're Nick Saban. He may see the writing on the walls and be like, hey, I kind of want to dip. I don't think we're going to do it, but he may be a name to watch out for. Maybe offensive coordinator, just team personnel kind of thing like Charlie Strong was. I wouldn't throw it by that. Maybe Dabo kind of just says, I see the writing on the walls in the next year or two with Trevor vouching for him, that somehow Dabo ends up on this team.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But it's going to be interesting next couple of weeks, see how the Jaguars perform. I think they're going to play better. We'll see if we get any wins, but I'm looking forward to the offseason. Jags are going to have the choice of one of the top coaches, in my opinion. And also, besides Urban Meyer, Urban Meyer would still be here for a while if it wasn't for all this, drama. That's just how it is. Shad Khan's a very loyal owner. He's going to give you 3-4 years more likely. So I think that's also very attractive to a coach, knowing that I don't have to win right away, even though as fans want to win right away. They can take 1 to 2 years to really start getting going.
Yeah, and I would say that's pretty true. But man, all the stuff that came out this morning about Urban, and there's still stuff coming out tonight. Like Mike Dempsey said, he has a source that's inside that said Urban would literally leave the building at 5 p.m., turn off his phone, and no one can get a hold of him after 5 p.m. Like he literally was just clock in, clock out, don't talk to me, I'm out of here. And then there was other things like even by week 2, there was rumblings between him and Bevel that there was like issues. And even Trent Baalke a couple of weeks ago was talking with Shaw that Urban May needs to go and stuff like that. Before the whole like James Robinson benching, before the whole Lambeau thing coming out, there was already inside things of Urban was probably out the door. Even if they were winning, if they were winning solves everything, probably wouldn't be like this. But there was a good chance, even if this team won 5 or 6 games, that Urban was still out the door from everything that's going on right now. But that might be the only exception. But yeah, Shaw does have a history of that. But I think Shaw may be trying to change. I think Shaw's like, this isn't working.
Becoming more like
I need to be more. We always say it. Shaw needs to be more involved. Maybe not in picking players and things like that. But I feel like he needs to be more visible as an owner. He doesn't need to be Jerry Jones. No one wants him to be Jerry Jones because he's not good at that. He would not be good at that. But the fact that he let Gus Bradley and Doug Marrone have these jobs for so long, that I think he's starting to get, I can't do this. And he
No,
made an example of Urban, that I am growing as an owner and I'm going to get rid of the guy when we all know he's not the guy, and not wait 2 years to get rid of the guy.
no, yeah, absolutely.
I think that's kind of changing, but I still think most coaches still view him as like a patient owner.
Yeah. I'm just excited for the future. Hopefully we get the right guy in this time. Every time we hire someone, I'm going to say they're the right person. I just am, no matter what.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
You
I
got
don't
to
want
trust
to
the
be negative.
organization at some
Yep.
point.
Got to trust, but looking forward to the game on Sunday. Other than that, though, I say everyone is definitely go follow us on Twitter, 9and4 more. We tweet out quite a bit. Brandon does actually for us.
Helps when you work from home.
Yeah, absolutely. And then go hit that subscribe button. We're trying to put out at least 2 videos a week, but go Jags.
Go Jags, everyone.